Karl Rove is a Fox News contributor and no stranger to these types of theatrics. You must have been through this during Katrina, probably.
Well, not as bad as this. One of the things that interested me was that, look, under the laws that govern these kinds of natural disasters, FEMA, the federal government, relates to the governor, and the governor relates to all the locals. Before this event occurred, President Biden called the mayors of several large cities, Tampa, Orlando, and so forth, directly, long before, several days before, he called Governor DeSantis. I thought that was an unnecessary stab at the governor. The governor, fortunately, did not rise to the bait. He went out and was very appreciative of President Biden's call, complimented FEMA on the work that they were doing in preparation for the event. But it was a sign that even, in an inappropriate way, President Biden should have had better sense than to say, you know what, before I talk to the mayors, I really ought to talk to the guy that I'm supposed to be talking to, the governor, and making certain that he has all that he needs, because he's the guy who's supposed to be in touch with the mayors and the county leaders.
Do you remember, Sandy, when Obama came in, he had that very official jacket and he got hugged by Chris Christie? And Republicans were furious. Why would you do that? It's costing us. Is Biden going to fly to Florida, and is he going to try to hug Ron DeSantis? And should Ron DeSantis hug him back?
Well, look, it is appropriate. The federal government has responsibilities under the law, and we like, and the people like having the president come in an aftermath of something like this. But look, what I think Governor DeSantis is trying to do is keep the politics out of this. He's completely focused on doing his job. If the president comes to visit, he should welcome him. He should thank him for his assistance, and I'm absolutely confident he will. And remember, if you step back from this, the only politics about this is if you're up to the job. If you're the mayor of New Orleans and you don't seem to be up to the job after Katrina, the voters respond. If you're the governor of Florida like Jeb Bush and those before and after him, Governor Scott, who seem to be in charge of these things and doing the right thing, they're rewarded by the people of their state, because that's what they want a governor to do, to be in charge of something like this when the moment comes.
Do you think if Ron DeSantis renamed Florida Ukraine, Joe Biden would give him the federal aid faster?
Well, you know what? He did. Governor DeSantis made this point, that the federal government, the state of Florida sent its initial request. They immediately responded and said yes. They made a request for what's called individual assistance. And you heard the governor just now reflect on it. The federal government immediately responded and said yes. So far, we haven't seen politics when it comes to delivery of the aid. And let's hope not. Let's hope that the emergency management officials in charge of the federal entity that has to relate to the state keep the politics out of it. That's what in Republican and Democratic administrations alike they have done in the past. Let's hope that they continue to do it in the future.
And so this came out of nowhere, the hurricane. Right now, it looked like the Republicans were closing the gap. They got the momentum back, even though there really was no Democrat momentum. That was just the narrative in the fake news media. But candidates are closing strong on the Republican side. Crime, immigration, inflation, stock markets tanking. This hurricane comes. How does this affect the landscape?
Well, we're going to be talking about it for a few days, so it is going to overshadow the campaigns in, say, Pennsylvania and Nevada. But it is going to affect, for good or for ill, and I suspect for good, the fortunes of Governor DeSantis in Florida, Governor Kemp in Georgia, and Governor McMaster in South Carolina, all of whom, look, if you're a governor of a state that gets hit by hurricanes, you think about this and plan about this and train for this a lot. And I suspect we're going to see all three of those governors rise to the challenge.
What's the global warming game they're playing?
You know, I thought that was interesting. There's the acting director of NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Agency, who says to Don Lemon, you know, I'm not going to get into that. If Don Lemon is right that they're intensifying, that he has to explain why we've been talking about the fact that there have been as many as 50 and 60 and 70 and 80 and 90 years ago, even more powerful hurricanes that hit Florida. So, you know, look, he was right to get into this. And he said, you can't take global warming and relate it to any specific event. But Don Lemon was so desperate to say this is global warming and therefore we need to pass the Build Back Better plan with all its green energy provisions. And AOC ought to be put in charge of this. And if we do that, we'll never have a bad one of these ever again. That's not how the weather works.
And he said he used to live in Florida and he just feels like they're getting stronger. And that's basically science, Karl. I know you you consider yourself a historian. Tell me, the Seminole Indians, hundreds of years ago, how were they at detecting hurricane speeds and rainfall?
You know, yeah, you've got to the edge of my historical, information. I cannot respond to you
because
on that. I have
Carl,
no idea.
we've only
Big
started.
Wind, big wind, heavy water.
Right. We've only started measuring the ferocity of hurricanes, I don't know, the last 7,500 years. So how do we know global warming's making them stronger? We only just started measuring them.
Yeah, look, there is some evidence, but again, the head of NOAA was right. First of all, let's stay focused on the event at hand. And second of all, no relationship between global warming and specific events.
All right, well, I'm glad they didn't have a lot of solar panels in Florida because they would all have been underwater and they never would have been able to restore power.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.